Is versus patriotism. Competition is all about capitalism versus patriotism. Now, why is this sort of like an issue? Because every society, every society at one point in time gets to face this question. Do we do this? Do we do that? Do we go left? Do we go right? Because there is money to be made, because there is gains, or there are gains to be made for a select few? Or do we stand our ground and say, no, you know what, rather than collecting money, rather than making money, right? Let's ignore it. You know what, rather than giving this, rather than paying for this service, you know what, I love my country. I love my community. I will not do this thing. I would not use this product. Instead, I would use that product. That product that's from our country. Remember when our mantra back in I think it was the Obasanjo era, right? The Obasanjo administration, when the mantra was buy Nigeria, grow Nigeria. How many of you remember that? Right? Buy Nigeria, grow Nigeria. It's a very interesting story on that I actually decided to make the rounds about 3 or 4 days ago. All right. And it led me down this rabbit hole. Ladies and gentlemen, now, some of you, right, may not know this company called PayPal, right? Some people may not know this company, PayPal. But about a decade ago, more like 2 decades ago, when, online transactions started to become a thing. Oh, by the way, PayPal was one of the companies that Elon Musk helped to start. Made a ton of money from PayPal. Anywho, at one point in time, right, PayPal blocked, or rather, PayPal didn't offer its services to the Nigerian market. Now, some would tell you that it's because at that time there was a lot of worry and concern about, advanced fee fraud, scammers and, that type of thing. They didn't want to expose their network to, people from that region. Maybe it was for the better, or the best at that time. But basically, an entire country, an entire region, because it wasn't just Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast. Those days, if you just put, I think the African countries were, I think it was South Africa and I think Egypt, if I'm not mistaken. But I could be wrong. But anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is this, right? At one point in time, when a lot of Nigerians, who were probably one of the most active group of Africans, right, on the continent, and some would even argue till now, they are, wanted to get payment for jobs done online, they couldn't use PayPal. Why? Because PayPal said, we don't like Nigerians. We don't like Nigerians. In fact, we shouldn't near, Nigerians, because Nigerians criminals. That's the perception that was given. And so Nigerians who were in the US, who were in the UK, who were in Germany and all that parts of the world, who were enjoying the services offered on PayPal in terms of money transfers and, payment schedules, begroaned why their friends here in Nigeria couldn't get it. But over years, the rise of fintech in Africa, particularly Nigeria, has led to a lot more independence from those global brands. Nigerians have become very creative. The business space that foster e-commerce thrived in Nigeria. Then suddenly, after realizing that, I no, this is not pushing an agenda. I'm just telling the story as it appears. Then after nearly 2 decades of not wanting Nigeria's business, talking about PayPal now wants to come officially, wants to reopen its services to Nigeria. Yes, PayPal, I hear, have, put some money into some businesses, some Nigerian businesses, but, officially there's no quote-unquote PayPal. But now PayPal are thinking about it. But the backlash on social media is outstanding. People are saying, look, anything that concerns PayPal, we don't want. When they refused. Now they've seen that we are now making money in the billions. Now they see the value of the African market. They want to come back. Say no. Say no. And then somebody put it very succinctly. The person said, I could make money, more money, using PayPal. I could make more money importing something from China or from Japan or whatever. I could do that. But when I was ridiculed by a store, when my people were ridiculed, I cut every tie from that place. I said, you know what? I'd rather buy my Nigerian things and grow my Nigerian naira. And I'm still in business. At that point, ladies and gentlemen, the person chose patriotism over capitalism. The urge to make more money. The urge to make profit. The question here is, at what point would you do that? When would you stand up and say, you know what, rather than making money, while I'm making extra profit here, you know what, I'm going to do the Nigerian thing. I'm going to make sure more Nigerians get this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, would you ignore profit for the sake of your country? It sounds easy to say yes, but imagine if you could start a store somewhere and be making upwards of $1 million every month in profit, not sales, profit. But if you're making $1 million in profit, your country will be getting a bad name. Maybe you are selling one product that says, oh, Jude's Bole and Fish from Nigeria is not good. So you're selling the other product. That one sells more, is more expensive, people buy it. But you know that Jude's Bole and Fish is great. And it's Nigerian. And it's not your Nigeria, it's from Niger Delta. But because it's 1 million, you say, you know what? Forget this guy. Would you ignore profit for the sake of your country? Basically, would you ignore profit for patriotism?
The views and opinions shared on this program do not represent the position of Nigeria Info FM. Nigeria Info, let's talk.
With Jude on 92.3 Nigeria Info.
Zero 08179230002, 08179230003, 08179230002, 08179230003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you'll find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. All right? Please Then WhatsApp is 0809-030-6416. 0809-030-6416. All right, let's get to hear you. Would you ignore profit for your country? Think about it. Would you ignore profit for your country? All right, Caleb here says, Jude, good morning. This your example is touching my head. 1 million. For who? For which country? Is it this country? If it's Nigeria, Jude, forget it. I will take my 1 million every day until Sunday. Caleb in Port Harcourt. Caleb, really? You're not patriotic? You don't feel you have something to do for this country? You would take the nairas, the kobos, the dollars over being a good or great Nigerian. Just like some of your friends and cousins on social media are saying, you know what, they won't have anything to do with this business because this business refused to serve us when we wanted or when we needed their service. But now that we have created our own, they now want to offer their service to us. We would continue to use Nigerian service providers rather than foreign ones. Is that what you're saying? 017-923-0002, 0817-923-0003. Once again, at Nigeria Info, PH at Nigeria Info. PH is where you find us on Facebook and X. At Nigeria Info, PH at Nigeria Info. PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. All right? Then send us a message to the WhatsApp number 0809-030-6416, 0809-030-6416. All right? 0809-030-6416. All right, Friday here says, Jude, good morning. It's an ethical question you're asking. You're asking us to choose between money, our financial gain, and the collective good of a people. My answer is this: yes and no, depending on which country, depending on which society. If the country in particular has done something to protect me and my family, why wouldn't I? But, and it's a huge but, if the country is the country where they refuse to give me power, if the country is the country where police harass people on the streets, if the country is the country where my vote doesn't count, sorry, Jude, I will take the money. Friday. How do we become great if we don't make sacrifices, though? Really? How? Every single thing, every single business that, seems to be thriving, there were sacrifices made. And if this society is going to be great, we all must make sacrifices. Now, once again, I have no personal qualms. I have no personal issue with PayPal. The argument really, the discussion is not really about PayPal, right? It is a conversation on capitalism. Service providers at one point in time may choose to go to a country or to go to a state or to go to a region for one reason or the other. Maybe government policies were not favorable. Now, when they choose to, their response can be varied. And in this case, at least if you were to believe what's going on social media, they don't want to do business there because we already have our financial institutions. Would you ignore profit for the sake of your country? JFK once famously said, "Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." Yeah, people have said that so many times. People have quoted that. And if you are a Nigerian, if you're a Ghanaian, and by chance you're listening, you are a Ugandan, you probably say, "What? What country? What country that has done what? For who? For how?" No, please. But the question has to be asked, if someone doesn't make a sacrifice, how do we exactly become great? Online, right? And I speak for only those, I'm only making this reference to the Nigerian accounts that have been responding, right? PayPal says, we won't discriminate any longer because they saw it as discrimination for whatever reason, right? Now that Nigeria has a lot of fintechs, tech startups are a dime a dozen these days. Young people are creating solutions. Even banks, even big institutions are investing in these, quote unquote, solution makers or providers. You now want to offer your service that you felt was too good for Nigerians. And they're saying, you know what? Don't worry. Don't carry, just go with your system. Go with your system. We don't want a system that will check, and if your phone number started with +234, tell you no interested. These people, no. The number could be fake. Maybe it's not Jude. Maybe his name is Kayode. We're not interested. We don't. No. Please. And so, like I said, for years, for decades, paying for certain online services was a big bother. You see, the biggest elephant in the room in this conversation is that as brands became more globalized, streaming platforms, for example, started to offer their services in local currency. So those of you who regularly go online, right, and want to stream something, you can put in your local card now and pay. But there was a time when that was not possible. And back then, there were very few companies or businesses that offered payment solutions. And one of the biggest, and some would argue the biggest at that time, said no to Nigeria. But now they're coming back. So it got me thinking, would you say no to profit? Because the people who are online who are saying they will not want to do business with this particular person or this particular group, right, would lose money. It's kind of like if you're going to sell your item in 5 stores and then there's an opportunity for you to sell your item in 10 stores. Most businessmen will probably want to take, the option of more out points or more sales points, because it means you have increased chances of making money. But some people are saying, Nigerians, don't worry, don't bother yourself. These people, they don't really like you. Is it now? We'll be back after the headline news.
Headline news, Nigeria Info on
92.3.
Headline news.
what realm you're operating in. All right, next one. This one says, good morning, Jude. I will make my profit, but not turn it into excessive exploitation. I will make my little profit, while still doing my business as a patriot. So long as I'm not running a loss, the little profit is fine. Boma from Abisa. But Boma, let's make it even more interesting. Like I said, Boma, in your place in Abisa, let us say Jude comes and I tell the people of Abisa that they should stop buying bole from Boma, even though Boma is in Abisa. They should buy from me because my own bole, I put perfume inside. My own fish is imported. And the oil I use, they make sure that they boil it and they also put scent leaf inside. So buy my own instead of buying Boma's own. Now, let's say Boma's bole and fish and Jude's bole and fish are the same thing. Right? They are the same thing. But when Jude started his business, Jude did not come to Abisa because Jude said, Abisa people, they don't find rich. They don't get money. But now that Abisa has blown, they don't want to come. Do you think you will feel happy if the people in Abisa buy my own bole and fish and they don't buy Boma's bole and fish? Boma, you sent me that message. I'd like for you to reply me, please. 017-923-0002, 0817923-0003, 0817923-0002, 0817923-0003. At Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X, at Nigeria Info PH, at Nigeria Info PH is where you find us on Facebook and on X. Patriotism versus capitalism. Capitalism, I beg your pardon. Would you ignore profit for your country? Come and play for Super Eagles. We can only give you maybe 5,000 or 10,000, per match. Come and play. Wear the green and white. Etch your name in the annals of history. Or don't play for the Super Eagles. Collect 250,000 a week. And, just play for your club. Don't come for Super Eagles. In fact, you won't play for any country. Just stay in your village, wherever you are, and just collect the money. Don't be a patriot. Would you be able to do that? 913, good morning. Hello, Port Harcourt.
Yeah, Jude, good morning to you.
Good morning, please.
These are kind of topics that sometimes makes us to search our conscience and to also see the quality of citizenship we bear for our nation. Most of us never went for profits. Most of us rejected profits. Most of us